أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي زدني علما ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So inshallah, as you can see on the screen, inshallah, our today's topic is about al-masdar, and the English term is either you can call it verbal noun or you can call it infinitive. So let's inshallah begin. So from a linguistic point of view, from literal point of view, al-masdar means origin of something, from where something originates. So as masdar is the origin of all those words which share its root letters. That's why we call it masdar, because it is the origin of all the rest of the words which are generated from these root letters. From a technical point of view, obviously, which is the main point here, a noun which indicates an action but it shows no tense. So if you recall in your mind about al-fail or verb, in case of fail we have two things, in actually three things if you want to say them. One is action, second is the time, and in addition, in Arabic language, every fail has a built-in doer as well. But for the sake of simplicity, we can say that a fail has two things: action and also tense. If you remove the tense part, if you remove the time element, then it is called masdar. Examples, for example, ilman. Now, if I say alima, if I say ya'lamu, even though all of those words they have ain, lam, and mim, those root letters, but all of them have a time element. But when I say ilman, so either you can translate ilman as knowledge or you can translate as to know. Likewise, hidayatan, you can translate as guidance or to guide. Now, as you can see, when I say to guide, even though it's an action, but when is this action happening? There's no indication of tense or time. Okay. Nasran. Nasran is a masdar. Why? It means to help. There's no indication that when this action of help is happening. So that is in very simple terms, that is the concept of masdar, that a word, and obviously word in Arabic language, word are in three buckets, either ism or fail or harf. In case of masdar, it falls in the bucket of ism because it's neither fail nor it is harf. So it is a ism from that point of view, and this it indicates action, but there's no tense, right? So this is the simple concept of masdar. Now let's inshallah move on. In Arabic language, there are two types of masdar. You can say that if we categorize masdar in two broad categories, very broad categories. First of all is al-masdar al-asli, or we can also call it al-musdar-as-sarih. Asli mean original and sari mean clear. Okay, so that is the first category. I'm calling it here category A, and that is al-masdar al-asli, which means the original masdar or clear masdar. What is that? A clear noun indicating an action without tense. As all the examples which we have seen before, all of those will be the examples of al-masdar al-asli or al-masdar as-sari. Now, the second category of masdar is called al-masdar al-mu'awwal. Okay, and we're calling it here in translation interpreted masdar, which means that it's not actually masdar. Inshallah, we'll see in a minute. It's a compound structure, but we interpret that whole structure, not just one word. Inshallah, we'll see in a minute. We will take that whole structure, whole compound structure in the meanings of masdar, and that we calling al-Musdar-al-Mu'awwal. Inshallah, what is mentioned here, it will become inshallah in detail in few minutes. So let's first inshallah look at this first category, al-Musdar-al-Sarih or al-Masdar al-Asli, which means that original masdar, which is only comprising of one word, which is indicating an action, but there is no time element. Now, what I'm gonna inshallah mention after this as the subcategories of al-Masdar al-Asli, it is just for the sake of a little bit more information. Why? Because when you will consult, for example, any of the books of Arabic grammar, you will see all of these terminologies and all of these subcategories. So because look, our aim is not to produce some Arabic text. Okay, so don't worry about the complexities. What I'm gonna give you after this as the subcategories of al-Masdar al-Asli, it is just to enhance our knowledge. So when we consult any of the books, we know all of these terminologies. Okay, so let's inshallah see. So as far as al-Masdar al-Asli or al-Masdar al-Sarih is concerned, there are various templates, and in Arabic we call it awzan. Singular is wazn and plural is awzan, okay, which simply means template. Okay, so there are various templates used to formulate a masdar, which means masdar al-asli, and these templates vary with a family with which a fail belongs. But because you remember, we have discussed 10 families. Okay, in family number 1, we put all the 6 tri-root letter families, and then we have Sulasi, Mazid Fi, 9 families of Sulasi, Mazid Fi, which we have seen in a brief manner, inshallah, at one point, inshallah, as it was discussed previously. We might go into the details, okay? But for now, the template of masdar depends on that which family this fail belongs to. That is the concept here, okay? Now, here are some of the templates used for fail sulasi. Sulasi means, which we call sulasi mujarrad, that those af'al which are only consisting of 3 root letters. And don't forget, the root letters of any fail, the original root letters of any fail, they are found in the first cell of Madi chart, okay, of the past tense chart, like Daraba or Nasara. This will tell you what are the original root letters of any of the fail. Okay, now I have given some of the templates here. Once again, this is obviously you are not going to produce any masdar from any of the root letters. It is someone's mic is not muted, it's causing problem. So I was saying that on this slide, I'm just giving you some idea, okay, that what it means to have masdar on different templates. Now, for example, as you can see here, that on this template, first of all, I have mentioned here kharaja yakhruju. You remember that the 6 tri-root families, they just differ from each other on the basis of the haraka of their middle letter. Okay, so for those verbs of those 6 families in which the middle letter in the case of past tense has fatha, and in the case of fail mudare it has dhamma. For example, nasara yansuru. For those kind of families, as you can see here, that masdar is on the template of fa'ulun. For example, for this fail kharaja, the masdar is khurujun. On which template? On template fa'ulun. Okay. Likewise, nazala yanzilu nuzulun. Okay. And in the case of these kind of families, and you can say that another template of masdar is fa'alun. For example, zahabun, najahun. Another template is fu'lun. For example, shurbun, shukrun. Another template is fa'lun, fathun, nasrun. Another template is fe'lun, like ilmun, hifzun. Now, please remember this point. Please remember this point. No one can guess the masdar. There is no, you can say that there is no, for example, process in which you can guess the masdar. Masdars are only known when you consult a lexicon, when you consult a dictionary. The whole purpose of this particular slide is because I mentioned here that there are different templates on which masdar asli is derived. And I have just given you some of the examples of those templates so you can understand that what I mean by having different templates. Otherwise, when we are analyzing Quran, we don't need to produce any masdar. But however, we need to understand as a concept. Okay, so please always remember this point, that if we need to produce Arabic text, then we will have a different kind of approach in our learning process, because then we need to learn all the processes. But that is not our aim. That's not our goal from the beginning. What is our goal? Our goal is the text is already there, but we should be able to analyze and understand that text. So always remember this point very clearly in your mind. So this was the whole purpose of this slide. So I can explain this point of templates, because I said that for different, depending on which family a word belongs to, it will decide the template of its masdar. And these are some of the, you can say, commonly used templates for different masadir. Now, inshallah. So now, once again, to give us more understanding about al-masdar al-asli. So first point I explained so far is that there are different templates for masdar al-asli, which I have shown you. Okay. Now, second point is that this al-masdar al-asli, it's given different names, which depends on how it is written. For example, let's see some of the example. Sometime al-masdar al-asli, you can call them the subcategories of al-masdar al-asli. So it is still al-masdar al-asli or al-masdar al-sari. Okay. Sometimes it is called al-masdar al-mimi. It's from the meme, the letter meme. Okay. What it means simply, a masdar which has additional meme in its start, such as, for example, simple masdar of shariba is shirbun. Simple masdar of zahaba is zahabun. Simple masdar of wa'ada is wa'adun. Right? Now, sometime instead of using shirbun, you will see that they use the masdar mashrabun. So shirbun and mashrabun, please remember the point. Both of them are the masdar for shariba. Okay. So sometime this one is used and sometime this one is used. Right? Likewise, zahaba, its masdar, sometimes zahabun, sometimes mazhabun. If mazhabun is used, then you will say that this is al-masdar al-asli, but it is masdar al-mimi. Why? Because it has additional meme in the start. That is simply the concept of al-masdar al-mimi, which you can just keep in mind just as one category of masdar as-sari. Clear? Now, second one is al-masdar al-marratun. Okay, or if you stop, then al-masdar al-marrah. Marra simply means that once. Okay, one time. Marra means one time. Look at this one. A masdar which indicates that action occurred marratun wahidatun faqat. That action happened only once. Such masdar is called al-masdar al-marrah. Okay, for example, now a bit further explanation of this one is that in case of fail sulasi mujarrad, now we all know that fail is either sulasi, which means it has only 3 root letters, or it is sulasi mazid fi, which means that it has additional letters on the top of 3 root letters, right? So again, it's an additional knowledge for us. And what is that? That al-masdar al-marra, in the case of fail sulasi mujarrad, its template is that you simply add, you drive this on the template of fa'latan. Fa'latan, for example, daraba, okay? If I want to drive masdar al-marra from daraba, it will be darbatan. How did I get it? Fa'latan. For all of those af'al, for all of those verbs which are 3 root letter verbs, in their case, we drive their masdar al-marra. How? On the template of fa'latun. Once again, please understand the point. Do you need to drive the masdar? No. But in terms of knowledge, in terms of understanding, so when you are consulting a book, you know that what they are saying. First of all, you understand that what it means by al-masdar al-marra. And secondly, you understand that al-masdar al-marra is you can say, is extracted in case of fail sulasi on the template of fa'alatan. And in the case of sulasi mazid fi, the 9 families of sulasi mazid fi, what would you do? You will do simply this step, that by adding a ta of tanis, or we simply mean ta of femininity at the end of the normal masdar. What it means? Look at the example. For example, we have the verb akrama. Now please look at this one. Akrama is not fail sulasi mujarrad. Why? As you can see, it has additional hamza with fatha in the start. It is from the af'ala family, and af'ala family is our sulasi mazid fi family. Why? Because kaf, ra, mim, these are the tri-root letters. It has additional hamza in the start, so it is a sulasi mazid fi family. Now for the akrama or for the af'ala family, masdar is ikraman. Okay, for the akrama, masdar is ikraman. If you want to make this masdar al-marra, what will you do? You will add extra ta marbuta at the end, ikramatan. So ikraman was the normal masdar. What did you do? You added a ta marbuta, and this ta, because ta has many types, this is ta marbuta of ta of femininity or ta of tanis. Clear? So this was just an additional information about al-masdar al-marra. So still we are in the al-masdar al-asli. So another category of al-masdar al-asli is al-masdar al-hi'atun. Al-hi'atun. Okay. Now what is it, by the way? Simple. A masdar which indicates occurrence of an action in terms of its description, that how something happened. Okay. Or I use this word howness, even though obviously I don't think that there's a word in English as howness, but this word is used. You know why? Because when our ulama, when they talk about the sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they say that we do not know the howness of those sifat. So basically the detailed description, in a sense you can say. So if a masdar, simply if a masdar is indicating the howness or description of how something happened, we call this masdar al-masdar al-hi'atun. Okay, now once again, in the case of sulasi mujarrad, it is extracted on the template of fi'latan. Now look at this one. The previous one was fa'latan. If it was masdar al-marra, so inshallah you won't be confused between them, because al-masdar al-marra is on the template of fa'latan, and al-masdar al-hi'a is on the template of fi'latan, not fa'latan. So that's the difference here. Okay. And secondly, in the case of sulasi mazid, first of all, remember this point. I consulted many of the articles on this topic, and some of them even said that this masdar only comes on sulasi mujarrad. Some of them said that in very rare cases, this masdar can come on sulasi mazid fi pattern as well, and in those cases it is very similar to the previous one. First point is same, that you add a ta of tanis at the end of the normal masdar, and then you make it mudaf. You make it mudaf for who? You make it mudaf for the one who is performing that action. Inshallah, I give you the example in a minute. Look at the example. For example, this example is, by the way, this example is for sulasi mazid fi. Okay, just to explain these two steps. So, for example, for the verb istaraha. Okay, istaraha means to rest. Okay, istaraha is the meaning of resting. Okay, so for the verb istaraha, normal masdar is istirahan. Clear? Now, and its al-masdar al-hiya will be istirahatan. What did you do? You simply added a ta marbuta. Now, this was step number 1. Now, step number 2 is that you will make it mudaf for the ism who is performing this action. For example, I gave the example here, and then we will make it mudaf to it. For example, istirahatal maharib. Maharib means the one who is fighting, because harb means fight, or you can say it's a war. Okay, maharib means the one who is fighting. Even the one who is a wrestler, we call it maharib, because he is fighting with the opponent. So you see, istirahat al maharib, which means resting of the fighter. What did we do? First of all, we change normal masdar with the ta marbuta. Secondly, what did we do? We make it mudaf, and we put in the mudaf ilay the person whose action this is, right? And but once again, I mentioned this because you may find in some of the books, but it was clearly written that al-masdar al-hiya, it only comes for the sulasi mujarrad family, number 1, and number 2, it comes on the pattern of fi'latan. Now, I found this one a very good example of this masdar. Look at this one. It's an authentic hadith, by the way, in Bukhari and Muslim. فَإِذَا قَتَلْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا كِتْلَةَ فَأَحْسِنُوا كِتْلَةَ وَإِذَا ذَبَحْتُمْ فَأَحْسِنُوا زِبْهَةَ. You see, kitlata, zibhata, both of them. This kitlata is a masdar al-hiya. From which verb? From qatala. And this zubiha or zabaha. Okay, from the zabaha and from the qatala. You see, kitlatan. Why? Because the meaning of the hadith is waiza qatiltum. Whenever you kill in the battlefield, if you kill your enemy, waiza qataltum. Whenever you kill, fa ahsinu, then you should do excellence, al-kitlata, in your action of killing. You see that the way you kill, the howness of your killing should be with ahsinu. Waiza zabahtum, and when you slaughter an animal, fa ahsinu, again you should do the ihsan. In what? In zibhatan. You see, fi'latan, kitlatan, zibhatan. So this hadith has a very good, you can say, example, a practical demonstration of al-masdar al-hiya, because this kitlatan is actually how you kill the other person, the description, the howness of your killing, and the zibhatun is the howness or description of your slaughtering. Okay, so this was a very good example. That's why I put this hadith here. So inshallah we can put the things into perspective. Okay, now after this one, I'm going to explain this type B, which is al-masdar al-mu'awwal. Because remember, masdar we put in two broad categories: al-masdar al-asli and al-masdar al-mu'awwal. Now, inshallah, because after I completed this presentation, I noticed that there are another two. Some of the books have mentioned two more types of masdar al-asli. Inshallah, after I complete this one, I will mention those two types as well. But for now, what I have got here, let me complete that one first. So let's wrap up where we are so far. So far, we have discussed point number 1, that there are two types of masdar. First of all, masdar is, it's a word which shows action but no tense. Clear? Then we said that masdar has two broad categories, al-masdar al-asli and second is al-masdar al-muawwal. Al-masdar al-asli, it means simply one word representing an action without tense. And then we have seen the subcategories like al-masdar al-mimi, al-masdar al-marra, al-masdar al-hiya. Inshallah, I'll show you a couple of more subcategories as well towards the end of presentation. For now, let's enter into the type B, al-masdar al-muawwal, which we are calling interpreted masdar. Now, like I said, that it is a compound structure. First of all, it is a compound structure. Let me show you the definition so we can put things into perspective. So look at the definition first. It is a compound structure used in the meaning of masdar. So first point we need to understand is, it is not one word. It is a compound structure, but the whole structure gives the meaning of masdar, right? That is one point. Now, what is the compound structure? Let's inshallah see. The al-masdar al-muawwal, it consists of two parts. How many parts? Two parts. Part number one is harf al-masdari. There will be a harf. Inshallah, we see that what are those huruf. But first part will be a harf. And second part will be a jumla. It could be jumla fe'liya. It could be jumla ismiya. This is what we mean by a compound structure. In simple terms, al-masdar al-muawwal consists of two parts. Part one is a harf. There are 5 huruf. Inshallah, we see them on the next slide. There are 5 hurufs, which any one of them will be used. And the second part will be, after that harf, there will be a complete jumla, a complete sentence. This complete sentence could be jumla ismiya, it could be jumla fe'liya. So this harf and complete sentence together as a one structure is called al-masdar al-muawwal. Okay, which means that it will be given the meaning, the interpretation, the label of a masdar. Now let's see that one. So al-masdar al-muawwal, it is, first part is harf al-masdariya and second part is a jumla. Jumla could be ismiya, jumla could be fe'liya. That is the description of masdar al-muawwal. And then points to be noted. Point number one is al-masdar al-muawwal is always a compound structure, i.e., it will always be harf plus jumla. It will never be one, it always be these two things together. Second is i'rab of al-masdar al-muawwal. What does i'rab mean? Status. Because at the end of the day, masdar is a ism, right? And ism has 3 possibilities: rafa, nasab, and jar. Clear? So this compound structure, obviously it's not one word, and we have discussed in the past as well, when the whole thing is playing some role, we call it fi mahalli. So al-masdar al-muawwal, the i'rab of al-masdar al-muawwal is determined by the role it plays in the sentence, i.e., it could be fi mahalli rafa, fi mahalli nasab, fi mahalli jar. Inshallah, we'll see all of them in a minute. But for now, what I'm saying is that al-masdar al-muawwal will have any of these 3 roles, either fi mahalli rafa or fi mahalli nasab or fi mahalli jar. Right? Inshallah, we'll see all of them one by one. And then, as I said, that al-masdar al-muawwal has 2 parts. Part 1 is a harf and part 2 is a complete jumla. In the harf side, these are those 5 huruf: an, anna, ma, kai, law. Now, first of all, with regard to an, we have already discussed this an, but now we are giving it a proper name. You know what is this an? If you recall, fail mudare, Fi'l mudare becomes mansoob or majzoom if some words come before it. We know this, okay? Those words, please pay attention, those words which make mudare mansoob, one of those words is an, and this an is same an. An is from those words which make mudare mansoob, but today we are learning that this an is not only a harf nasab for fi'l mudare, but it is also harf masdariya. Clear? Likewise, anna. Now we all know what is anna. Anna is from the sisters of inna. Inna, anna ka anna. We all know this, okay? It's not a different anna. It is still same anna. But now we are saying that this anna, which is a sister of inna, and other title of this anna is, it is a harf masdariya. What it means, harf masdariya? That it will change the next sentence into masdar. That's why we call it harf masdariya. For example, when we say harf nasab, what it means? That it changed the next thing into nasab status. And when we say harf masdariya, what it means? That the sentence which will come after it, this harf will change that sentence into masdar or into the meanings of masdar, right? Likewise, ma. Now, with regard to ma, alhamdulillah, we had a detailed lecture on the types of ma. And if you recall, and if you inshallah go back and check that lesson again or check that the notes again, one of the ma was ma masdariya. It is not ma of istifham, it is not ma of ism mawsool, it is an other ma which we call ma masdariya. What it means by ma masdariya? That when this ma will come, the sentence after this ma will change into the meaning of masdar. There's a very close, you can say, these two things are very close, ma mawsula and ma masdariya. Inshallah, first of all, let's understand today ma masdariya, and then inshallah we will see that how we can distinguish between ma mawsula and ma masdariya. Okay. Now, next one is kay. Now, once again, this kay is not a new word. It is from the list of those words which make mudare mansoob. You remember we discussed li kai, but we said that sometimes it comes as kai. It can come as li kai, it can come as kai. So this kai is also from those words. And next one is low. This low we have not discussed in any of those lists. Inshallah, today we'll see that this low, how this low works, and this low is also from the huruf masdariya. Now, the reason I mentioned all of this detail is you should not be confused that we have already discussed anna, we have already discussed an. So it is exactly what we have already learned, okay? But now we are giving them another name because now we are understanding another concept, and that is the name of harf masdariya. So simply, in simple terms, an and kay, they are harf nasab. For who? For fi'l mudare. But another title for them is they are harf masdariya as well. Okay. Anna is a sister of inna, and another name of anna is that it is a harf masdariya. Likewise, ma masdariya and law masdariya. Now, inshallah. Now, first of all, let's talk about the examples of an, because remember there are 5 huruf which can perform the role of harf masdariya. What was the first of them we put in the list? That was an. Let's look examples of an. Okay. Now, look at the example first. Wa anta sumu khairul lakum. First of all, this an. As soon as you see an, what would you say? You will say that this an is harfun nasb wa masdariya. Okay. And because of this harf nasab, you can say tasumuna has become what? tasumu, because it's harf nasab. It will make mudare mansoob, and that's why tasumuna has become tasumu. So this an this an will be called an masdariya. You can call it both things, an harf nasab wa masdariya, and tasumu fail mudare mansoob. Okay, now an and tasumu together will become one structure, and this one structure will be called al-musdar-al-mu'awwal. Please pay attention. You will say that this an tasumu is al-masdar al-mu'awwal, and if you want to give the detail of both of them, then you can say that an harf nasab wa masdariya, tasumu fi'lun mudare mansoob. So an masdariya plus fi'lun mudare mansoob together, that is the compound structure, and this compound structure is gonna play one role. Now what will be that role? In this case, please pay attention, because al-masdar al-mu'awwal or normal masdar, now it becomes one word. Okay, it will perform the role of like one word. In this case, this antasumu is going to play the role of mubtada, and khairun is the khabar. Clear? Because khairun lakum, we can put them together, but khairun and khairun is the khabar and lakum is the muta'alliq bil khabar. Why? Because lam is jar and kum is the attached pronoun. So antasumu. Now please pay attention. Please pay attention. Now apparently, if we don't know about al-masdar al-mu'awwal, we'll say that antasumu. Tasumu is a complete jumla failiya. Why? Because tasumu is fail mudare, and every fail in Arabic language is a complete jumla. But now this tasumu, this complete jumla failiya, has lost its status of jumla. Why? Because of this an, and both of them have together became like one structure to perform one role. That one role could be role of rafa, role of nasab, role of jar, and here they have performed the role of rafa. Antasumu is actually, look at the translation, and your fasting is better for you. Okay, now in reality you are saying, please pay attention, siyamukum khairul lakum. Now siyamukum, siyamu, what is siyamu? Siyamu is clear masdar. Sama, please pay attention, sama fail madi, yasumu fail mudare, and siyamun, siyamun is the masdar for sama yasumu. Okay, now instead of saying that siyamukum khairul lakum, siyamukum is not used, rather antasumu, a compound structure is used. Now a question comes in mind, that would it not be simple if Allah would have simply said siyamukum khairul lakum, because siyam is a clear masdar. Inshallah, this is the study of balagha, rhetoric, that why a simple way is avoided and a complex structure is used. What is the benefit here? Inshallah, let's at this stage understand the structure itself. Inshallah, then at next stage we'll be able to see that what is the rhetorical benefit of this structure. Bismillah ta'ala. So it was actually wasiyamukum khairul lakum, but wa antasumu khairul lakum. Okay, and this antasumu, I said fi mahalli rafa. Why? Because antasumu, this structure antasumu is playing the role of mubtada, and because mubtada is rafa, that's why we said fi mahalli rafa. Look at next example. Inna allaha la yastahi an yadriba masalam ma ba'udatan fama fawqa. We have done this whole ayah already in the Surah Al-Baqarah. Okay, now Inna Allah, indeed Allah, la yastahi, does not shy away. Please pay attention. If I say, indeed Allah does not shy away, is it not a natural question that Allah does not shy away from what? And we know that the answer of from what is called maf'ul. Now, instead of saying a simple maf'ul, one word maf'ul, what is used here? An. And then yadriba. This yadriba, masalan, ma ba'udatan, fama fawqa is complete jumla. Yadriba is fi'l mudare. Actually, it was yadribu. But because of because an is a harf nasab. So because of an, yadribu has become yadriba. And this masalan, as you can see, masalan is the maf'ul for who? For yadriba. Okay. And then ma ba'udatan. You see, ba'udatan fama fawqa. So this whole thing is connected with what? With this yadriba. So please pay attention. This an is harf nasab wa masdariya, and yadriba masalan ma ba'udatan fama fawqaha is a complete jumla of fi'l mudare. But this because of this an, this complete jumla has lost its status of jumla, and this whole thing is playing the role of an plus next jumla together is giving you the information of that what Allah is not shy of. And this what is called maf'ul. And because maf'ul is in nasab status, so that is fi mahalli nasab. That in this case, this compound structure, an plus next jumla together is performing the role of fi mahalli nasab. Why? Because it is in the role of maf'ul. Next example is very simple, fi mahalli jar. Because I gave one example of fi mahalli rafa, the fi mahalli nasab, fi mahalli jar. Okay, now, inna Allah qadirun ala an yunazzila ayah. Look at this one. Indeed, Allah is able. Ala. Now, please pay attention. What is ala? Ala is a jar. And we know the rule. After jar, please pay attention. After jar, you will always have a ism in jar status. But here, instead of giving you one ism in jar status, you are given a compound structure, and an masdariya and yunazzilu aya, this complete jumla together. An plus this complete jumla together is playing the role of al-Musdar-al-Mu'awwal, and this al-Musdar-al-Mu'awwal is fi mahalli jar. Why? Because of this ala, it is going to play the role of majroor. So I'll say indeed Allah is able to send down an ayah. Okay. Basically, you are saying inna Allah qadirun ala tanzilu ayah, because yunazzila, nazzala, yunazzilu. For nazzala, yunazzilu, simple masdar is tanzilun. Instead of using tanzilun, simple masdar, a compound structure is used. Likewise, instead of a compound structure based on an is performing different roles. Again, the same on, but it is now examples of anna. Okay. Now, please, at this point, please listen one point very carefully, inshallah, and we will be, inshallah, very clear for the rest of the lesson. An change the next jumla failiya. Which jumla? Jumla failiya into masdar. As far as anna is concerned, anna will change. After anna, you will always have jumla ismiya, and that jumla ismiya will be changed into masdar al-mu'awwal. So, just to summarize, after an, you will have jumla failiya based on mudare mansoob. But after anna, you will have jumla ismiya, and that jumla ismiya will lose its status of jumla. It will always perform role of one word. Okay, and that one word again could be fi mahalli rafa, nasab, or jar. Look at the example. Awalam yakfihim anna anzalna alaykal kitab. Now, look at translation first. Now, awalam, obviously this is istifham, question. Now, is it not yakfi, sufficient, him, for them? Yakfi is a fail and him is the attached pronoun, and we know the rule. Whenever pronoun is attached with the fail, it is always maf'ul. So him is the maf'ul. So is it not sufficient for them? Now, what is not sufficient for them? Anna anzalna alaykal kitab, that we have revealed to you kitab. Please pay attention. Yakfi, kafa, fail madi, yakfi, fail mudare. Right? Now, yakfi is number 1 in the mudare chart. And we know that number 1 has a built-in pronoun, and that is huwa. So, if this, just imagine, if this part was not here, you will say that, is it not sufficient for them? Now, this it has been removed, and you have been given this this whole thing instead of it. That it's not that is it not, no. Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sending down the kitab? Is this sending down of kitab is not sufficient for them? So what I'm trying to highlight is that this sending down of kitab is replacing the built-in pronoun huwa, and this whole thing is going to play the role of outside file, right? And we know that outside file is always in rafa status. Let me remind you, in jumlatul fi'liya, please pay attention, in jumlatul fi'liya, if you get an ism in rafa status, what do? We say that this ism will become the outside file and the built-in file will be cancelled. What's happening in this case is, instead of giving you one word in rafa status, we have been given a compound structure which is in the role of that rafa status outside file. Now, how would you do the labels? Look at this one, please. So, anna will be called harf nasab wa masdariya. Okay. And now after anna, what do you have? Ism of anna and khabar of anna. So this anna has a attached na, because anna means anna plus na. So this na, attached na, is the ism of anna, and anzalna alaykal kitaba, complete jumla, is the khabar of anna. Please pay attention. Anna plus its ism and its khabar, the whole compound structure has become Musdar-al-Mu'awwal, and because this Musdar-al-Mu'awwal is playing the role of outside file, that's why I call it fi mahalli rafa. Clear? Now look at next one. Inna rabbaka ya'lamu annaka taqumu, and you know the ayah in Surah Al-Muzammil, annaka taqumu adna. I just put the relevant part here. So inna, obviously inna is not harf masdar. Okay, so inna simply will be called harf nasab and harf tawqid. Okay, now after inna, rabbaka is the ism of inna, and ya'lamu annaka taqumu adna is the khabar of inna. Now please look at this one. Inside the khabar of inna, let's analyze the whole thing. Ya'lamu, ya'lamu, he knows. It is number 1 in the fail mudare chart, number 1. Ya'lamu. Now this ya'lamu, he knows. Now he knows what? He knows this thing, annaka taqumu, that you are standing. So ya'lamu is fail and file, and after that you need the maf'ul. In the maf'ul bucket, instead of giving you one word in nasab status, you are given a compound structure of al-masdar al-mu'awwal. So anna will be called harf nasab wa masdariya, ka will be called ism of anna, and taqumu will be called khabar of anna. So harf masdar anna and its ism and its khabar all the structure together fi mahalli nasab. Why? Because this whole structure is playing the role of maf'ul for this ya'lamu. Right? Next example. Jar example is always very easy. Why? Because you will always have harf jar. Okay, for example, washhad. Washhad is fail amr. You testify. And obviously, when you say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then fail amr becomes dua or request. Okay. So these are the Hawariyun of Isa alayhi salam. They are requesting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, washhad, O Allah, you testify. B, obviously, B is jar. Anna, na, Muslimun. Remember this point. This anna and annana is same word. Sometimes anna plus na is written as anna, and sometimes anna plus na is written as annana, but it is same word. Okay. So please look at this one. This ba is jar. This anna, harf nasab and masdar. Na is the ism of anna. Muslimuna is the khabar of anna. This anna along with its ism na and khabar muslimun, the whole thing together is fi mahalli jar. You know why? Because ba is the jar, and after jar you must have a ism in jar status. But here, instead of giving you one ism in jar status, you are given a compound structure, al-musdar-al-mu'awwal, to play the role of ism in jar status. So it was pretty much the same thing which was on this slide. These were the examples of an. These are examples of anna. And on the next slide, examples of ma. Same concept. Inshallah, you can go through these examples as well. Just in case if you are not able to understand any one of them, inshallah, you can definitely ask me in the next lesson. But for now, what I'm saying is examples of an, examples of anna, example of ma. Now, as far as ma is concerned, after ma, for example, as you can see in this one, ma sa'a. After ma, you have fail madi. Okay. Ma anittum. After ma, you have fail madi. Okay. Ma nasu. In all of these cases, you have after ma, you have fail madi. Okay. So this ma, same as we said before, ma will be called harf nasab, and next jumla will be called jumla will lose its status and it will become, and remember this point, please listen very carefully. As in the case of ism mawsool, we say that ism mawsool and its sila, right? Same are the labels here, but instead of saying ism mawsool, you say ma masdariya, and sa'a is the sila, but not sila of ism mawsool, sila of ma masdariya. Likewise, this ma is ism, ma is harf masdariya, and anittum is the sila. This bima, this ba is jar, this ma harf masdariya, and this nasu yawm al hisab, this whole thing is the complete jumla, and this complete jumla is the sila. Sila for who? For this ma. What I'm trying to say is, in case of ma is a mawsool or ma masdariya, what comes after the ma is called sila, but ma itself, it's called ma mawsula, and in this case we call it ma masdariya. That's the only difference. Now at this point I want to mention one thing which is very important. It is sometimes very difficult, and even for the those who have good knowledge of Arabic language, it is sometimes difficult to distinguish that is this ma is ma of ism mawsool or is it ma of masdariya. Let me give you one difference, but that's not in terms of understanding. That's just in terms of grammar. Ma of ism mawsool is a ism, and ma of masdariya is a harf. That is one difference I can tell you, inshallah, at this point. You need to keep in mind that ma of ism mawsool is a ism, and when it's a ism, it can perform any of the role of ism. But ma of masdariya, in these three examples, it's a harf, and harf cannot perform any role. It does not have any i'rab. That is a technical difference, but inshallah, in terms of how should we be able to distinguish between ma of Mausula and ma of Masdariya, inshallah, we'll see that thing, inshallah, at another time, because this is very important as well. Now, next one was Kay. You remember there were 5 words, 5 huruf, which perform the role of harf Masdariya. An, Anna, Ma, and number 4 is Kay. Now, let me give you a good news. As far as the first 3 are concerned, An, Anna, and Ma, they can perform the role of Rafa, Nasab, and Jar. But as far as Kay is concerned, Kay can only perform the role of harf Jar. Fi mahalli Jar. Not harf Jar, fi mahalli Jar. Now, look at the example. لِكَيْ لَا تَأْسَوْا عَلَى مَا فَاتَكُمْ. Allah is saying as a commentary that so that you do not despair over what has eluded you or what you have lost in the battlefield. Allah is addressing the Muslimun in the battlefield regarding the battle of in which Muslims lost the battle. That's the second battle after Badr. I'm missing the name.
Uhud.
Uhud. Yeah. Jazakallah khair. So in the battle of Uhud, when Muslims, they have to suffer a lot of loss, in the commentary of that, this ayah is mentioning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving you all of this counseling. Why? So that you do not despair over what has eluded you or what you have lost, in simple terms. Now, look at this one. Likai. You see, likai. Likai. This likai will be this lam. You will separate the lam. Lam is simply harf jar. So you will separate this lam and this kai. Only kai will be called harf nasab, also masdariya. And because of this kai, you can see that this noon has been the noon of this one. Sorry. The noon has been removed because of this kai. Okay. Otherwise, it was ta'suna. Okay. Ta'saw. Now, second point is this lam is simply harf jar, right? Kai is a harf nasab and harf masdariya. And la ta'saw ala ma fatakum is a complete jumla. This la ta'saw ala ma fatakum is a complete jumla, and this complete jumla is kai and this complete jumla together will make a compound structure, and that compound structure is performing the role of majroor. For who? For this lam. So lam is jar. Please pay attention. Lam is jar, and after lam, instead of giving you just one ism in jar status, this complete jumla of kai is given you as in the role of fi mahalli jar. Now look at, I mentioned here that sometime, please pay attention, sometime this lam of harf jar is given clearly, as in this case lam of jar is given before the kai. Sometime this lam of harf jar is missing. We saw that we will still say that this lam is implied, and the word for implied is muqaddara. Lam al muqaddara. Muqaddara means that it is estimated, it is implied here. For example, look at this one. You know the mother of Musa alayhi salam, when she put Musa alayhi salam into the water, now Allah is giving her counseling. Okay, faraja'naka, so we return him, or so we return you, Musa, or Musa. So we return to you, or Musa, ila ummika, towards your mother. Why? Kai, so that takarra ainuha, so that her eyes become, you can say, cool. In little term, so that her eyes become cool, but it's a metaphorical language. They translate it as so that she might be content. She might have this contentment. Right? Look at this one now. In this case, obviously, Kai, please pay attention. Kai will be called harf nasab, also harf masdariya. And takarra, you see, takarra, takarru has become takarra because of this Kai. Okay, now this takarra ainuha, this complete jumla, takarra ainuha, complete jumla, because of this Kai, this jumla takarra ainuha has lost the status of jumla. Now it is only a compound structure with Kai. So Kai, please pay attention, Kai plus takarra ainuha is al-Musdar-al-Mu'awwal. But where is the lam? So we'll say that before Kai, lam is employed, and that lam will be called harf jar, and this sentence of Kai takarra ainuha will still be fi mahalli jar, even though lam is not mentioned. So this will you see in the Quran, that sometime you will see li Kai, sometime you see only Kai. So at that lam is lam of harf jar. Sometimes it is given, sometimes it is employed. Okay, inshallah, very quickly, just last one. And obviously, inshallah, I will share this whole explanation and the whole lesson. You can watch it again. And inshallah, there's no problem in it. If you have any question, inshallah, I will definitely take your question in the next class as well. So the last harf masdar is low. Okay, low. This low, in all the examples, you'll see that low is used in combination with this word vadda. Vadda means to wish something, to desire something. Okay, vadda is the madi form and yawaddu is the mudari form. Okay, look at this one. Vadda kasirum min ahlil kitab. Many of the people of the book wish. Now, many of the people of the book wish what? Law yaruddunakum, that they could return you back. Back on what? On kufr. Now look at this one. This law will be called harf masdariya. Yaruddunakum is the sila for this harf masdariya. This harf masdariya and the sila together is performing the role of maf'ul. You know why? Look at this one. Vadda kasirum min ahlil kitab, that from many of the people of the book have this desire. What desire? Law yaruddunakum, so they can return you back. So you can become murtad. Okay, now as you can see that this whole structure is giving you the information of maf'ul. And like I said in the case of Kai, that the compound structure of Kai always perform the role of fi mahalli jar, and the compound structure of law always performs the role of fi mahalli nasab. Why? Because it plays the role of maf'ul. Why? Because it gives the information of what. Okay, look at one more example. Yawaddu ahaduhum. Okay, one of them desires or wish law yu'ammaru alfasana, that he is granted the life of 1,000 years. Once again, law harf masdariya and yu'ammaru alfasana. This complete jumla yu'ammaru alfasana. Yu'ammaru is, by the way, majhul. Okay, yu'ammaru, he is granted. Granted by who? We don't know. Okay, so this yu'ammaru alfasana is the complete jumla, and this complete jumla is the sila. So law plus the sila, it becomes compound structure, and this compound structure is fi mahalli nasab. Why? Because it is giving the information of maf'ul for yawaddu. In a nutshell, if you have the madi form, it will the whole structure of law will be the maf'ul of either vadda or yawaddu. Simple. It will always, the whole structure will always perform the role of maf'ul. Okay, now let me take a pause here.